So Daddy and Adora are doing some exploring of San Carlos. Now, I know this mall from last time, and I have been here a few times, but I didn't do any vlogging on it. Apologize about the stubble today. It's in between shave days. And so, yeah, lots and lots of different little stores in the mall here. It's very small compared to the malls in General Santos or Cebu. Or Bangkok, of course, Thailand. They have huge, like, 5-story malls there. Whereas here I appear to have lost my person. Maybe she went to the bathroom. I don't know. So, anyways, this mall is literally like a block long, 1 story. It's got a grocery store. It's the Gaisamo Mall. Gaisamo appears to be like a franchise over here. And yeah, I don't know where my sidekick went. So anyways, I'm assuming they'll have a Santa here. I was joking with my friend who I met, Mike, who is a Santa for hire internationally. He actually is blue-eyed, big-bearded white guy, so it's already Santa in disguise. Maybe I should do that, become a mall Santa temporarily, you know, since I've got the look except for the beard, but they can glue one of those on. So anyways, no, yeah, it's a small mall. It's got like a hardware store that's pretty basic. It's got like a kiddie park thing. I don't know if you can see the kiddie park. And these are fun little rides you can rent for the kids. And it's like a cart thing with a stroller on wheels. So I think the parent pushes it. I don't think it's electronic. And so they try to make shopping fun for kids here, because most of these kids, if they live in the country, in the province area, they're not getting a whole lot of adventure time in the city. They are, like, literally always in the country. Some of them don't have electricity, so the only form of entertainment they get is a phone. Like, there isn't TVs and PlayStations and Nintendos in every house. It's completely different than how the Western, at least my Western kids are. So yeah, no, it's one of those things where, like, so this is like, it's a practical mall. There's like a little department store. I tried to buy some baby toys there. I got some diapers there. In this particular grocery store, the liquor store is like a little side store on the side. It's not actually in the main grocery, but this is your main grocery for sure, or main mall in San Carlos. So if you do decide to relocate here, and I did bump into a nice young Westerner. He's like early 20s. He was staying at my hotel for the month. So before I leave that hotel in about a week or so, I'm going to see if I can get him to do a little interview with me. That might be fun, to hear a different perspective from a much younger expat that's over here. Now, he's got himself a Filipina, and I'm sure that's exactly why he came over. But, you know, he's got to obviously be somewhat smart to realize, hey, I don't know where you went. You just disappeared. Is the nail place in the bathroom?
Yeah,
the nail place is in the bathroom?
No, it's a bathroom.
Okay, so where did you go?
Where, pee?
Oh, well, you should say something. I was like, where did you go? There's all these other Filipino around me, but none of them are mine. You know?
Give me that. I'll go there.
Okay.
Yay!
She doing top nails too?
Huh?
You gonna do top nails too, or are you gonna wait because you have baby? Which one?
Yeah.
You do them?
No, only there.
Yeah?
Yes. No, only here. Feet only.
Why? It's only 100 to say? Do both. Daddy likes nails. There you go.
Bye-bye.
That's not great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wander mall now. I just was waiting here because this was roughly where I saw you last. Okay. So, we'll continue with this little blog of the San Carlos Mall, the Gaisamo Mall. So, like I said, they do Christmas here from September 1st. till December 31st. DIY stores, those are really what we would call dollar stores. It's like low-end Chinese merchandise, cheap. So you can get stuff in such a way where you're not spending a lot if you need stuff. When I had my house, I bought a bunch of, and the restaurant too, I bought a bunch of utensils from here and cookware and things like you can see in the store what it looks like, right? So, you know, you save a fortune than going to some of the bigger department stores like sorry, lots of attention from the ladies here. Especially when you got a cute little Adora with you, yes! But, no, it's one of those things where, there's like a mall in most of the cities, and it's around this size. I mean, when I stayed at Pagadian, there was like one really big mall, and then like 3 or 4 of these littler ones, and they're out in different barangays, where you have population centers, but not enough to support a big retail thing. So, and then here's your handyman store, and this is the kind of store where you can buy like paints and stuff like that, small appliances, small materials, but not really wood. They don't have hardwood or good wood over here. If you do decide you're coming over here, you're building a house, you're going to get stuck building it out of the local wood, which is, by my standards, a softer wood. So you definitely want to reinforce it, go thicker. Like if in the West, a 2x6 would do. 2x2 and go by 2x6 instead. Now they also have a termite related issue in these kinds of warmer climates that don't go away. So even that's why a lot of their homes are built out of stone, steel reinforced, and then they just put in whatever windows in the holes that they find type deal. Now one of the things they do here, and when I'm looking at houses, you'll see if you watch the video from when we saw that 10,000 peso house, cheap price. I'm not going to argue about the prices. But the building side of it, the windows are these weird, like almost RV style, like camper style fold down windows that leave a lot of gaps that unfortunately let in the bugs and let out the aircon. Now, if you're over here on an unlimited budget, you don't really care if you get a huge electric bill, because a huge electric bill here is still an incredibly cheap electric bill versus back home. My aircon in my house, oh, hey, there's a man in a Jollibee costume. We'll see if we can get him on camera with us. That would be fun. Yeah. And it seems to like babies because he's chatting with another baby. Hey, Jollibee guy, you want to come on camera? Yeah, let's get the Jollibee. This is their favorite chicken over here. They love Jollibee. You could totally have a good, successful date taking your lady to a Jollibee, right? Yeah, he knows. He knows. Thanks, Jollibee. And it's actually jolly, like happy, bee. Incredibly simple. But you get the point. And it's like a KFC, but they do other stuff. But of course, even McDonald's over here does other stuff. Like you'll find spaghetti at McDonald's here, rice at McDonald's here, because they eat rice with every meal. It's mandatory. It's even at breakfast. Which, you know, I find funny as heck, but it is what it is. This is like a little electronics store. I guess you come here for things like your, you know, tech wares if you're building your own system. You can buy used or new laptops for around 50,000 peso, which is like about 1,000 of our dollars. So roughly what you'd buy a laptop for back home. You're not going to see a lot of savings on technology over here. It's not like Japan, because they're importing it. And unfortunately, one thing you're going to learn when you're buying things over here, if you move over here, anything you need to be really reliable, like an electric razor or an inverter or something that's small, bring it with you from the States, because they seem to only get the Chinese knockoff cast-offs, like things that are too low quality. There was a defect in them. They couldn't sell them into the Western market, so China dumps them here for cheap. Like, I've had rice cookers, Black & Decker rice cookers back in Canada for literally a decade, doing commercial grade work for me, even though they're not commercial grade, making, you know, 2-3 pots a day, and they still work. Whereas when I was living here in Jensen with my restaurant for only the 8-9 months that it was operational with the rice cooker, I went through 3 rice cookers. It's just, maybe it's the 220 volts on everything, but most of their stuff is geared for that, right? So, now here's the other fun thing. You see sunglasses here. See them all? Sunglasses. Oh, I don't know how to point. There we go. There, sunglasses. And phones. Cases. This model's got 4 of them in the center aisle. One of the things that Filipinos do, and of course I've commented about this in older videos, but in case you folks aren't going back, there's no harm in me talking the same points over, I guess, if you're not watching the old videos, but you'll see a lineup of the exact same businesses hanging out, competing with each other over very small amounts of peso. So in the end, none of them make really good money because they don't have anything unique. It's like if you try to get a phone fixed here, you're going to find most of the merchants can only fix the exact same phones. And yeah, so here's an idea here. Here's a beautiful little scooter. And you buy it right here at caution, 84,000 peso. That's less than 2K. So, and it's Honda. So it's going to be reasonably good product no matter what. Some here, this one's like 61. It's white, so I guess it's not as nice or whatever. This one's 74. Kind of just gives you an idea what you're going to spend for a brand new, out-of-the-box scooter that's going to give you flawless. They all wave at you and you're rude if you don't wave back. But that's a cheap price to give yourself a reliable vehicle over here. And when you leave, you could sell it for 50 or 60 if you don't run it to the ground. At least 40, even if you did, right? As long as it still starts and drives, because they will literally drive it until it's barely alive and there's no plastics left and all the lights are broken, because they don't have the same rules on vehicles that we have in the West. Like, they don't wear their lights on at night. Half of the vehicles don't have turn signals or mirrors. They just don't. And so if you're used to that and you were expecting that when you're driving over here, you're going to be in for a little bit of a surprise, for sure. And then of course the other side of that is you want to make sure that you secure your stuff. See, a nice little bike like that parked out front of your house does 2 things for you, unfortunately. One, it attracts people that you are a Westerner or someone with money because you have a brand new bike with lights and mirrors and it's all wonderful. And that you need to lock it up. Like, you not just turn the key, but like get a bike chain it to something in your yard, or at least run it through so they can't wheel it off. And the good thing is, luckily these people are smaller, so they're not as strong, whereas a guy like me can just pick that bike up over my shoulder and walk away with it. They're not so much. They're gonna need a few friends, and they won't do that normally. Also, camera your home. Home security is incredibly cheap over here. You can get cameras back home, a setup say for a house with a 6 unit, with a DVR recording device. It's gonna cost you about $1,500-$1,600 our money. Here you get that same system for less than $300 our money. And it's worth it because it gives you peace of mind when you're not home. And you'll watch on other bloggers like Carefree Chris, whatever, where he just got himself a nice house or whatever. And yeah, one of the first things he did was install cameras because he's got bars on the windows. All the homes have bars on the windows. Now, it's not that crime is rampant here. It's not, really. But because they take preventative measures. They don't leave themselves open and vulnerable. They understand the importance of, a wall around my property, bars on my windows, just things like that. So it's one of these things where an ounce of prevention is always worth a pound of cure, as the Brits would say. And it's true. Oh, here's another motorcycle merchant, and this is Suzuki this time. So here you can see you get the same little white Suzuki bike for 64 minus 1,000. You're 63,000 peso. You're maybe 1,300 Canadian, 1,000 USD. That's not bad for a nice new bike, right? And I mean, look, it's got some chrome package on it. It's got the fenders to keep you from getting wet. It's got an active fuel gauge and speedometer. Because when you buy used, most of those side accessories are not going to be operational. And I would get this guy, comes with a free 10 kilo of rice, not that I care about that, over say this guy that's got a smart display. Because with the rain here and the bad roads, one or two wipeouts, those smart displays aren't going to work crap. Whereas at least this is probably cable driven, so it's going to give you more reliable performance. 72,000 for this guy. I mean, he doesn't have the chrome package, but he's definitely more horsepower. He can go 140 kilometers an hour, which none of the roads really are going to let you do that here. Like when I tell you something is 3 hours away, add 2 hours, because that's me just calculating the kilometers of distance versus what we would drive in Canada. And unfortunately, as you'll find, a lot of the people here don't drive that fast. Like 80 is really like 80 kilometers to like, 65 is American miles per hour. It's like about as fast as the majority of them go. So it's one of those things where there's not really speed limits, but there is. There definitely is in the city. But when I've rented cars a few times over here and driven around down in General Santos, once you get past the towns, you really can just open up and have fun. The catch is, of course, there are checkpoints everywhere. And if you're a Westerner, you are going to end up going to one of those checkpoints. And if you get a guy having a bad day, you're going to want to make sure you're fully registered, that you've got your license, that you're wearing a helmet. Locals are not going to care if you're wearing your helmet as much. But if you're a foreigner, oh no, they care, because they know you can afford the fine. The cops here are a lot more humane than back home too. Like, they're not out to screw over the locals like that they're out here to protect. They're actually here to protect them, and they do that. So whereas a cop back home would be a total piece of shit and fine you for no seatbelt, 5 over the limit, a broken tail light, just run you through as much as he can. Here it's like, okay, you're a poor guy and you don't have your helmet, no worries. Go get a helmet next time, guy. The one thing that they don't tolerate though is drinking and driving in excess, especially on the motorbikes. It's just common sense. If you can barely stand up, you're not keeping your balance on a bike. So, it is what it is. But they're not like the crazy people in the West where it's like you've had one beer and you're a fat man over 250 pounds. Oh, we better pull you over and you can't drive your car home. You had 2 beers? Oh, we better take your license away. I can drink about 10 or 15 beers, including the beers here, which are the same as Canada. They're around that 5 and 6%. They're not lightweight beers like in the States. And I'm still fine to drive if I wanted to. Now, I don't, because I don't drive here, and definitely I wouldn't on a motorbike, only because there's a balance. And also, my fear isn't that I'm going to wipe out on a bike. I fear some other driver hitting me, because, like I said, they don't use turn signals, they don't use mirrors. These safety provisions we have established as mandatory in the West just don't exist here. So, with bikes, I say buy new. With cars, I say buy used. Only because for me, I'm mechanically savvy and I'm able to assess a used vehicle just by looking at it, just by driving it. Now, when I came last time, I brought 2 of those little devices that you plug into the IMDb drive of a car and it tells you what all the error codes are. I sold those for crazy amounts. I got like 80,000 peso for one and 170,000 peso for the other one to local mechanics, because they don't get that kind of wonderful tech here. So it's one of those things where this is that liquor store I was telling you about. They don't get that kind of tech here as easy. So for me to sell those things, which are tiny, they fit in your carry-on no problem. It was a real good thing for me. It really helped my cash flow when I was crunching. Because, like I said, the bar doesn't make a lot of money in the beginning. And so you have to... oh, she's asleep. See, I'm boring, folks. I know. But these are facts that if you're over back home debating coming over, and like, what can I bring? Like, when I first came over, I brought 4 or 5 iPhone 12s. And it was like only at iPhone 14 at the time. We're at iPhone 16 now. Because I thought to myself, hey, I could turn those over for profit. They could be something that I could sell if I got desperate. Whereas gold, if you bring in gold, you cannot vlog in here? It's looking at me though, it's not looking out. Still no? Okay. So anyways, it's one of those things where was I? Sorry, I got sidetracked by a guard there. try and bring things over that are useful here, that you could sell for profit if you're in the same sort of situation where you're coming over with a very limited budget. Like those two little code readers, for lack of a better term, on cars, I paid next to nothing for. I bought them on Amazon. One I think I paid like $14 or $15 for. It was very basic. It really just does older cars, which they do have a lot of here. And the other one, I think I paid maybe $60, $70. So I wasn't out a lot of money and put them in my luggage just because I thought, hey, if I do buy a car over here, I want to make sure it's not got, you know, a bunch of blown internal parts to worry about. And those code readers can save you. So with cars, I do say buy used, only because I find the new prices not cheaper than home. Do you know what I mean? So would you really buy a new car back home if you didn't need to? Most of us do it because the newer model cars, you know, anything after say 95 is built to be a piece of crap in 5 years. Or when things break, it's more expensive to fix those things than just to buy another car. Here is, I think, similar, you know. And so the other big negative is that if you're here on a tourist visa, which, yeah, you can renew that for 16 months and then leave for a day, come back and do it again for 16 months. Owning a car is going to be an asset that you could lose big on if it's new. You buy a $2,000 car, it's good enough to drive here. It'll be having okay tires, it'll stop and go, it'll have lights, might have a speedometer that works. If you, for some reason, have to leave the country, something bad happens at home, or you become considered undesirable because you're not behaving, you're just leaving behind a $2,000 car. It's not like you just spent $30,000 on a car, and now what are you gonna do with it? Plus, just like land here, guys, or condos, you're never gonna get your money back that you put out unless you're finding another Westerner who's willing to pay that price, and that's a huge gamble. So I say when you're buying any of those kinds of things, buy them in a way that you're spending the least amount and that you're expecting fully to never get your money back. That you're just buying it to use it while you're here, to live in it while you're here. With a condo, let's say you spent a $30,000 condo, American dollar condo in Cebu, you'll probably get 21, 24 back for that. So you're getting a good chunk of your money back. But it will take time. It'll sit on a market. Some local realtor here will sell it for you in your absence. They'll probably cheat maybe a couple extra 100,000 out of that for themselves, beyond their fees. Like they'll sell it to a friend who will then flip it again. But we get that same scam going on in the States side. If you lose a house to a bank in Canada, say, it's normally bought by someone in the lawyer field or in the banking world who is going to make a profit on it. He'll sit on it for 6 months and jack the price, and it'll be okay. But you'll get really just what the bottom end of that is, because it's a repo. Hopefully it's enough to pay off your bank loan. Over here, there's no loans for us for cars normally. If you're married to one of the Filipinos, you might be able to work something out. But if you're here on a tourist visa, that's not happening, friends. So you're going to burn through actual cash. Now, one of the rules I do also say, and the way to get around that would be, say, getting it on a credit card. Like, if you're one of those guys who's got a $20,000 credit card limit, first off, you hide that card. Because if you ever fall asleep with that card in your wallet when you brought some girl home for the night, guarantee you she's going to take pictures of both sides. And you won't know for the first 30 days to see your statement. And yeah, she went and bought herself a motorbike. She bought a bunch of stuff on Shopee. You're down a lot of money for that night of entertainment. So if you have a good credit card, something that's big limit, hide that. That should be hidden deep in a piece of luggage that doesn't look valuable. You know, an old shoe that they're not going to steal. So it's just there as a hidden device. If you buy a home, one of the strong things I do is say get a small lockbox that you can hide. They're really cheap here. You can buy a lockbox here for less than $50. It would cost you $200 in the States, right? So, and they're made to be ridiculously difficult to get in. So it's just a way where you could stash your passport, that good credit card, things like that in those kinds of devices. Now, the other side of it too, of course, is if you did buy a new car or a new bike or one of these things on a credit card, then you're just making your monthly credit card payment. Now, you're giving the bank or the credit card there 18 or 16%, or if you're really bad with credit, 30%. But at least it gets you on the road driving now. And a lot of these companies too, if you're a foreigner and you pay it cash like that, they'll set you up with like a temporary registrational plate. And there's no insurance here, guys, so you can choose to get it, but it's not mandatory like back home. So that gives you the option to really just, it's driving and gas. That's your expenses, right? So I tell folks that you can get mobile over here. And if you watch like Chad Foster or any of these other channels where the guy's just booming around all these islands on his bike, it is worth the investment if that's your plan. Because first off, all these islands are covered in gorgeous ladies, just covered. And they love when a strange Western man comes in because there isn't many of them. You become a super anomaly where they're just like, oh, it's a white man. And everyone in town will pretty much lay out the red rug for you, right? Including the ladies. But it's also one of those things where if you don't like an area and you have a bike and you traveled over here light with just like one, carry-on size suitcase, you can just throw that on your backpack, strap it to your bike, go to the next island, start all over whenever you want. And like for the American soldier friends I've met over here, one of the benefits they have is they have that American soldier pension, sometimes even in their early 30s and 40s. That means you can fail every month and not care. Because at the end of the month, you get to start all over again. And like one of those bikes back there, it's not even your whole pension in a month, it's a fraction. So it's one of these things where, yeah, you can buy a new motorbike, scooter, whatever you want to call them, because that's the other thing, is you're not going to find powerful motorbikes over here, and it's really hard to import them. What happens is their top end is like 125cc, which back where I am, that's a kid's bike. But they use them here. I've seen them strapping them to the carts that they use to travel people around in. So they're called trikes. And it's a whole other little sidecar, but it's not a little dinky sidecar like we have in the West. It's like a full, rooftop, back seat sidecar. And that being said, what happens is 125cc to tow all that extra steel around. Plus, in my case, just yesterday, I was in a one from the mountain after fishing, and there were 16 people on that device. Now, I'm counting Dora as a person, but it's just one of these things where, they were literally sitting on each other's laps, hanging off the side, and I could hear that poor little 125cc motor just dying because that's way too much weight, but they don't care. And that's why I also caution about buying used bikes, because that used bike might be ridden harder than a Texas Horde. You know what I mean? Like it might be so ruined. You need to rebuild the whole engine to keep it back proper, and then you're replacing all those sensors for gauges and cables and the brakes and the tires. When I was buying bikes back in Gensan to flip, I kept a rule of I would try and buy something that really just needed basic stuff: exhaust, tires, brakes, cables, right? I didn't want to get into rebuilding motors. I only had a wrench kit from the dollar store. Do you know what I mean? So it really wasn't set up to be where I could want to get into the BS of rebuilding a whole engine over here. But I would buy those bikes for around 8,000 or 9,000 peso, which, feel free to crunch the numbers. You're talking less than 400, 500 USD, and I would then dump another thing. Oh, hey, Cal, what's up, buddy? Doing a vlog as I go. Hey, Cal, visiting the show.
I shouted you out on my last video.
I did. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
They need the support.
I know. I appreciate it.
Hey, but maybe we'll have a wonderful comment on words.
Sure, of course. You bet. Cal from Sunshine Shoulders. One of the good things about San Carlos, I've already started networking with the expats here. Always good to bump into a friendly face. His channel is amazing and an infinite resource for folks that want to get this boots on the ground kind of stuff that I'm giving you in this long 30-minute drop. So I'm going to tie this up there. I'm really just wasting time while I was waiting for my missus to get her nails done, as you guys saw in the middle of the video. I'm sure that will be done soon. I mean, it can't take that long to do nails. So like, follow, subscribe. And as some of the people who have already emailed me learn, I actually do write back detailed personal letters. I will answer your questions. I'm retired. I got the time. Yes, that's right. All you haters out there who are hating on my blog. Yeah, yes. I'm a 40-something guy who came here with nothing. I'm still here. I'm still doing just fine. And I consider myself retired enough that I can do blogs and answer emails. At least until I reopen my bar here. And then, of course, that's going to be a whole other situation where I'm not going to get the business visa this time. I'm going to let my woman have the business, because that is how you do it to make it easier. And I'm just going to be like a coach, a counselor, a trainer. I won't be working myself. So I'll still have time just sitting at one of the tables in my nice air-conned establishment to do this kind of fun stuff. So again, like, subscribe. Sharing is caring. If you know an expat who's thinking of coming over, you know you're going to get it straight from me. I don't sugarcoat it because I don't care what the haters think. And I don't think I'm really saying anything that bad. I'm keeping it real and telling it truthful. I just don't sugarcoat stuff. And neither does Cal, and that's the good thing about him. So there's a lot of them. I mean, you know, Mike's retirement, he does a lot of it. I mentioned Chad. He's also really straight, tells you how it is. I haven't met Chad, but he's a fellow Canadian. And there are a lot of us Canadians over here. So, yeah. Thanks for listening this long. If you stayed, thank you so much. And feel free to put a comment in. I try to reply to most of them. If it's really stupid or vulgar, or you're just like throwing out an insult, I do delete you because I don't care. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. You're trying to hurt mine, right? You can't do that though, because I don't care what you think, right? So that's the important part too, because I watched a few other YouTubers lately who seem to get really buttsore about the comments and care what the haters think. And I don't know why. That's a Western philosophy that created the cancel culture in the first place, which I always figured myself totally immune to. Like, I left politics only because other people were feeling the cancel culture and, you know, told me I needed to step aside and move aside and things like that, because the truth I was dishing out over there weren't they couldn't handle them. So like I said, I was going to end this here. I wasted 2 more minutes. Thanks for watching, folks.